Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to talk about a story that will completely change how you look at failure. It's a story about a man who faced setback after setback, who was knocked down time and time again, but who refused to stay down. This is the story of Abraham Lincoln, a figure we all know as one of America's greatest presidents, but whose journey to the top was paved with more failures than most of us could ever imagine. So, let's start from the beginning. Abraham Lincoln wasn't born into a life of privilege. His childhood was marked by hardship. Imagine being just 9 years old and losing your mother. For young Abe, this was his reality. That profound loss was one of the first major challenges he had to overcome, shaping him in ways that would last a lifetime. Growing up on the rugged frontier, he had very little formal education, only about a year in total. Everything he learned, he had to learn on his own, poring over books by the dim light of a fireplace. As he entered adulthood, the struggles didn't stop. In fact, they seemed to multiply. Lincoln was an ambitious young man. He saw a future for himself beyond the life of a frontiersman. He tried his hand at business, opening a general store with a partner. Sounds like a good plan, right? Well, the business failed. Not only did it fail, but it left him with a mountain of debt that took him years to pay off. This early failure could have been the end of his ambitions. Many people would have given up, but not Lincoln. At the same time, he was drawn to politics. He believed he could make a difference. So, in 1832, at just 23 years old, he ran for a seat in the Illinois state legislature. He campaigned hard, but he lost. Another failure. On top of that, he lost his job as a postmaster. It seemed like every door he tried to open was slammed shut in his face. He even dreamed of becoming a lawyer, but his initial attempts to get into law school were unsuccessful. It was just one rejection after another. Think about that for a moment. You've lost your mother, your business has gone bankrupt, you've lost an election, and you've lost your job. How would you feel? It would be so easy to feel like the world is against you, to just curl up and accept defeat. But Lincoln's story is powerful because he didn't do that. He picked himself up. He borrowed more money from a friend to start another venture, but that also ended in bankruptcy. He was carrying the weight of failure, yet he still found the strength to keep moving forward. 2 years after his first political defeat, in 1834, Lincoln decided to run for the state legislature again. This time, he had learned from his mistakes. He had traveled more, met more people, and honed his message. And this time, he won. It was his first real taste of success after a string of bitter disappointments. He was finally on his way. He began to study law on his own, borrowing books and teaching himself. And eventually, he earned his law license and became a successful lawyer. Just as things seemed to be looking up, tragedy struck again. This time in his personal life, he fell deeply in love and got engaged to a woman named Anne Rutledge, but their happiness was short-lived and tragically passed away from typhoid fever. Lincoln was devastated. He fell into a profound depression, what was then called melancholia, and was so unwell that his friends had to watch over him for months, fearing he might harm himself. The emotional pain was almost unbearable. It's a stark reminder that life's challenges aren't just professional. They can be deeply personal and cut to the very core of our being. Even after recovering and re-entering the political arena, the path was anything but smooth. He served his terms in the Illinois legislature and even went on to serve a single term in the U.S. House of Representatives. But then came another series of political failures. He lost the nomination for Congress. He ran for the U.S. Senate in 1855 and lost. He was nominated as the vice presidential candidate for the Republican Party in 1856 and was defeated. Then, in 1858, came his famous senatorial campaign against Stephen Douglas. They held a series of historic debates, but in the end, Lincoln lost the election. Let's tally this up. Multiple business failures, multiple lost elections, personal heartbreak, and crippling debt. At this point, many would have told him to quit politics for good. His own wife, Mary Todd Lincoln, sometimes questioned his relentless ambition in the face of so much defeat. But Lincoln possessed a rare and powerful quality: resilience. He believed in his principles, especially his growing conviction that slavery was a moral wrong that must be stopped from spreading. This conviction fueled him. He didn't see his losses as the end of the road. He saw them as part of the journey. Each failure was a lesson. Each setback a chance to learn and grow stronger. Once doble route. The path was worn and slippery. My foot slipped from under me, knocking the other one out of the way. But I recovered and said to myself, it's a slip and not a fall. That single sentence perfectly captures his mindset. He refused to define himself by his failures. He understood that a slip is not a fall. You can get back up. And then came 1860. The political landscape of the United States was deeply divided over the issue of slavery. The newly formed Republican Party was looking for a candidate who could unite its different factions and appeal to a broad range of voters. They needed someone with strong principles, but also a pragmatic approach. After all his years of struggle, after all the defeats and disappointments, the moment had finally arrived. Abraham Lincoln, the man who had failed more times than he had succeeded, secured the Republican nomination for President of the United States, and in November of that year, he did what seemed impossible just a few years earlier. He was elected the 16th President of the United States. It's an incredible climax to a story filled with so much struggle. All those years of hardship, of studying by candlelight, of losing elections, of facing personal tragedy, had forged him into the leader the nation needed at its most critical hour. His presidency, of course, was the ultimate test. He led the country through its bloodiest conflict, the Civil War, and in doing so, he ended slavery and preserved the Union. His leadership during this tumultuous period cemented his place as one of history's most revered figures. But we can't fully appreciate his presidential greatness without understanding the long, difficult road he traveled to get there. The life of Abraham Lincoln teaches us a powerful lesson. It's a lesson that success is not a straight line. It's a winding path filled with detours, roadblocks, and outright failures. It's about what you do when you get knocked down. Do you stay down, or do you get back up? Dust yourself off and try again. Lincoln's story shows us that failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of it. It's the fertilizer for future growth. So, the next time you face a setback, whether it's in your career, your studies, or your personal life, think of Lincoln. Think of the man who failed in business, lost elections, and suffered unimaginable heartbreak, yet never lost hope. He never stopped believing in himself and his purpose. His legacy is a powerful reminder that our failures do not define us unless we let them. True strength is found in the courage to persevere, to keep going, even when the odds are stacked against you, because sometimes the greatest successes are born from the ashes of our most painful failures. Thanks so much for watching today. If this story inspired you, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. And I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. What's a failure that taught you a valuable lesson? Until next time, stay curious and keep learning.